The legend tells us that a tub was too big for Diogenes, whereas the whole world was too small for Alexander. Diogenes lived in a tub, scorning all possessions except the few necessities that could be carried in a purse. Having once owned a drinking cup, he cast it aside as superfluous and hence worthless when he saw a dog drinking from a puddle. On one occasion, Diogenes declared, Alexander eats when his officers tell him that it is time to eat. I eat when I am hungry. I am the master of my life, and Alexander is a slave to his servants. Alexander, magnificent on his white horse, appeared one day before Diogenes, who was sunning himself in front of his tub, and announced that he was Alexander, the great king. To this, Diogenes the Cynic replied that he was Diogenes, the name cynic comes from the Greek word for dog-like. Do you not fear me, said Alexander. Are you good or evil? Replied Diogenes. Good, of course, said Alexander. Then Diogenes asked, how could anyone be so foolish as to fear what is good? The king was so struck by this that he offered the cynic anything he wanted. Diogenes replied, please just stand out of my sunlight. Upon hearing this, Alexander dismounted his horse and stood beside Diogenes, answerless and amazed. Diogenes, acting as a good host, restarted the conversation by asking, what are your plans, sir? Alexander replied, I first plan to conquer all of Greece, then all of Europe. And what will you do after you have conquered the whole of Europe? Asked Diogenes. Alexander continued, then I will conquer the Middle East and move on to Asia. And after that, pressed Diogenes, then I will conquer the whole world and rule over it. And after that, Diogenes asked again, after conquering the world, I will sit in peace and enjoy the splendor of my conquest. Diogenes finally said, why don't you sit in peace right now? Why all this bloodshed if in the end all you want is to sit and bask in your glory? Why not do that now? Alexander was so impressed with the force of this argument that he mused, if I were not Alexander and God had asked who else I would like to be, I would have said, make me Diogenes the slave. Unimpressed, Diogenes retorted, if God ever asked me what I would like to be, I would say, make me anybody but Alexander. As the sun set on the horizon, the legend tells us that Alexander and Diogenes walked along the beach. It was Diogenes who led and Alexander who followed.